Hey everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be going over and showing you how to install the Roadmaster battery charge line kit here on a 2019 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. So a battery charge line kit is just going to be one of the many things you need to successfully tow your Jeep here. Now what this does is, this is going to provide a small trickle charge to the Jeep's battery while it's in tow. That way when you've arrived at the campsite, you're ready to unhook the Jeep, you don't have to worry about the potential for a dead battery. Now how this works is, it's going to take the battery on the motorhome, and there's going to be a wire already pre-run on most motorhomes from the battery to the trailer connector. And then we're actually going to tee into that trailer connector using a 6 or a 7-way umbilical cord. And that's going to attach to a 6 or 7-way here on the Jeep. Those are going to be required in order to use this battery charge line circuit. We have plenty of those adapters and umbilical cords for you to choose from if you don't have one. But then it's going to run from the trailer connector to the vehicle battery. So it's going to be charging all the way from the motorhome battery all the way back to the vehicle battery using the built-in circuits on the motorhome and Jeep and an aftermarket umbilical cord. So as we can see, this kit does utilize a self-resetting circuit breaker. Now what this means is we don't have to worry about any issues with the motorhome affecting the Jeep or any issues with the Jeep affecting the motorhome. They are going to be separated out from one another by a couple different mechanisms. There's going to be an integrated circuit protection on the motorhome going to the 7-way. We also have integrated circuit protection here going from the towed vehicle's battery to the trailer connector. So on both sides we have protection that are going to protect us from any shorts. We don't have to worry about any fires occurring or anything dramatic like that. Everything is going to be separated out so we don't have any potential for issues. So in regards to installation, this one is really simple. It's definitely something you guys can do at home by yourselves. You wouldn't want to pay a shop to do this. In regards to what we're going to need, the kit is going to come with pretty much everything. We will need some handheld wire crimpers or strippers that we actually carry here at eTrailer. We definitely have a cost-effective option for you to check out. But aside from that, again, everything is pretty straightforward. It should only take you around an hour or so depending on your skill level. We'll actually go ahead and walk you through this entire process step by step now. So the first step of our installation, we're going to be coming underneath the hood of our vehicle here, locating the battery, which is on the passenger side, in particular the positive terminal. So once we have that found, we can go ahead and take our circuit breaker here that comes in our kit and find a place to mount this. Now there's not a ton of places, but I think just sort of in here, sort of in this little area, I think I'm going to mount it at an angle like so. That's pretty good. It's going to be our best bet because we don't have a lot of other metal surfaces we can attach it to. But now I'm going to go ahead and take one of the self-tapping screws that come in the kit here. I'm going to try to screw it in without it walking too much to the side of this panel here. So the self-tapping screws are kind of hard to get through this metal here because it's rather thick, a little bit thicker than what I'd like, but we're just working with what we have here. So in which case you want to go ahead and take a drill bit just so you can get a pilot hole in there, and then you shouldn't have any problem securing the self-tapping screw once that's drilled through. So there we go. Now it's nice and secure here. We have access to both of the terminals. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a 12mm socket and we're going to remove this nut here from the positive battery terminal. Now we're going to take the red power wire that comes in our kit here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off some of the jacket here on one of the ends, just like that. And then I'm going to crimp on this butt connector here with the larger ring terminal. You can clearly see one of them is much larger than the other. Just like that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this ring terminal to that stud there that we just removed the nut from. And then we'll re-secure our nut. Now we're going to take the other end of our wire here, and we're just going to simply route this over to where we have that circuit breaker located. You may see some extra wires here. Those aren't actually factory. This customer here has a winch wiring kit, so there's some extra wires that may not be on your model, but not to worry. Everything should still be the same aside from that. But I'm just finding a place here to route this wire, sort of tucking it along there. Gonna run it to the side here. I think I will end up using some zip ties just to secure it to some wires in here as well. But once we have it located here, we have it ran to that circuit breaker we mounted earlier, I'm gonna go ahead and just sort of scope out how much wire I need to trim off. Give yourselves a little bit extra, you don't want to cut it too short. And now we're going to crimp on that smaller ring terminal. So again, take off some of the jacket here. Crimp on that tiny ring terminal. And now I'm sure you guessed, we're going to attach it to the bronze post here on the circuit breaker. That's going to be the one labeled BAT for battery. We'll remove that nut. In order to tighten this back down, you will need a 3/8 socket. Attach it there like so. Re-secure our nut. We'll go ahead and tighten it back down with a 3/8 socket or a 3/8 open-ended wrench. Either of them will work fine. I don't want to get it too tight, but nice and snug so it doesn't move. And then, as we said, I'm going to take some of the zip ties that come in our kit here. I'm just going to secure some of that extra wire. So now we should have some leftover red wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to strip off some of the jacket from one of the ends. And then we're going to attach our last ring terminal here. It's that smaller one, just like the one we just installed. Crimp that on there. And this is going to go to the silver post there on our circuit breaker. Try not to drop your nuts down in the engine bay there. We'll go ahead and just attach that over there like so. And re-secure the nut. Then we can tighten it down there with that 3/8 inch socket. Now once I have both of those tight, what we're going to do is, this isn't required, you don't have to do this, but we went ahead and cut off some pieces of airline tubing so we can stick them over the terminals there just so they don't short out to anything. Really anything you have would work. If you have some electrical tape, you could easily just cover those up. Again, it's not required. We just want to prevent anything from short circuiting to these. So these little pieces of airline tubing tend to work real well. You just have to press them on kind of hard there or spin them down like so to get them covered. So now we should have a decent amount of red wire left, and what we're going to do this is we're going to be running this down sort of through the engine bay here out to the front of the vehicle where we have our trailer connector located. The trailer connector is generally located in the center there, but if you haven't installed yours yet, you would just route this to where you will be installing it. It's really just going to depend on your specific application. Let's go ahead and do that now, then we can kind of show you the route that we took. So we've got our wire coming from the circuit breaker sort of over and around the battery like so, between the battery and the air box. Then we have it to about this point here. You can see we have some zip ties along the way just securing it. We're just going to pretty much go straight down and behind the bumper there, and then we'll jump on to the other side and show you where that ended up. So here you can see our red wire hanging below the bumper here. Now I would like to note that this is an aftermarket front bumper, so it may look a little bit different under here than you're used to. But that's totally fine. Everything should be pretty much similar aside from that. But we're going to take our red wire here and we're going to attach it to the back of our trailer connector. So again, that's going to vary depending on where you have your trailer connector mounted. Ours is actually attached to the bumper with a little cutout here more towards the driver's side. In regards to actually attaching that charge line to our trailer connector, so this one is actually kind of pre-wired for it. It's got a red wire coming from the back that's labeled charge line, so we're just going to attach ours directly to that. Most of the time with these 6-ways though, there's just going to be a center pin that you're going to insert that into. There's usually a little terminal in there. You'll loosen the screw in there with a small Phillips head screwdriver. You'll stick the wire in through there once you strip some of the jacket off, and then you'll just tighten that screw down. And that's pretty much it as far as the installation to the trailer connector. But we're going to go ahead and hook up our red wire to this red wire here, finish our installation, and mount our trailer connector back on the vehicle. So now that we have our charge line wire hooked up, the only thing left to do is re-secure our trailer connector. So the best way to verify that everything's working correctly, we'll just take a circuit tester here. We're going to be probing that center pin because that's how most of them are going to be wired. This is going to be a 6-way, keep in mind. So you can see there we have power on that center pin. That lets me know the charge line's hooked up and it's working correctly. And that's going to do it today for our look and installation of the Roadmaster battery charge line kit here on our 2019 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited.